What's up, guys? Nate Bedrosky from Narrowway Homestead. It's about time for a garage update. Now, it doesn't look much different on the outside, and somehow I still don't have the vehicles that I plan to park in the garage. But really, I've just got an absurd amount of projects going on, including firewood for next year, which is also important. Also, electricity, because electricity has been a struggle, and that's part of the garage. Got electric up there, got solar panels up there, but that's not what this video is all about. This video is all about the inside tour of the garage. All right, let's go in and see how things have been progressing. What's up, Twitch? That is the live streaming camera, one of several. One very important thing that has not happened is Lord Minion's bed has not made it into the garage. So he sits in a vehicle that's not even supposed to be in the garage, but I didn't want all this stuff to get soaking wet and turn into a mess. Turn on some lights and give a full tour. This is the garage part of the garage, if you will. I've got this huge line of rolling shelves kind of separating the work area from the garage, even though they're just going to kind of intermingle because that's how it works. Over here is just kind of temporarily set some stuff. That cabinet is installed permanently. Rolling shelves are awesome because you can move them everywhere, and this is just kind of a staging area for stuff that probably needs a different home than what's currently there. I've just started to hang a few things on the wall. There's a huge rolling toolbox right here. Couple more cabinets, big shelf up there, and now that I kind of have an idea what I'm doing with the cabinets, I'll be actually taking some supports underneath here to hold that, because I just have a feeling that I'll end up putting more stuff up there than what those occasional braces are going to actually provide for me. This will hopefully remain the main workbench. Projects I'm currently working on will hopefully be stored underneath there, easily accessible, but hopefully I won't be putting a bunch of clutter there. I got a beer fridge, which is very important. I actually got a bunch of beers from some friends in Vermont, some fellow homesteaders that came to visit, so I will be probably doing a beer review or two out of there as well at some point in a short form. What I used to do for work was be a contractor, and I had everything organized in a toolbox. It was all in a vehicle, and so I've never really had an organized garage, or even a garage to speak of. I did have one kind of, but it was more of a warehouse. So figuring out how to organize tools in a way that I'm actually going to use them is definitely still a work in progress, but for right now it's a huge improvement because I actually know where stuff is. I mean, I don't have each drawer memorized, but I know that some stuff is at least in here. By the end of this video, I'm actually going to take the vehicles and put them both in here so I can see what it looks like and put this guy outside, where these tools actually came from. And part of what's taking me a little while to get things organized is they came from all over the place. Out in the carport about a year ago, the carport was sitting where this garage is. Obviously it had to move. It's got an AC unit in here. Thanks to the solar upgrades, I'm able to run that, but there's a bunch of stuff in the carport that got soaked and in some ways ruined. This carport used to sit where the garage is now, but now it's down here kind of on a slope because really it just needs shoved out of the way. And I had stuff that needed to be stored in it, and unfortunately, I can't even open this thing. Fortunately, mud has run down through it all and just kind of, it's much more empty now. It's kind of like a greenhouse. It doesn't have sun. It's super humid in here. Terrible place to store anything, any kind of tools. So stuff's been getting brought out of there, cleaned up, figured out where it's supposed to go. I'm also having the hardest time, for whatever reason, keeping this area clear so I can actually have I built this little pad to be able to drive ATVs, UTVs over here to be able to drive them into the workspace to either keep them dry or work on them or do anything. Also not sure what Minion's thinking of his new bed area, if that's going to be a good bed area for him or not. We don't have to close it when you're in there though. No. We don't have to. Let me interrupt this video for just a moment, bringing us to our sponsored segment. I want to talk about the Jackery HomePower 3000. This is a portable power station. However, it's designed to be a backup for things such as a refrigerator or your internet or anything that you must not lose power on. I've also got it connected right here to this water filter because being able to filter water is very important to me. One of the things I really like about the Jackery products is they do kind of have a primary use. However, you can unplug all this, go back to conventional stuff, and grab this with you on vacation. You can plug in an RV. You're not just limited to backing up things, but that is its primary use. Basically, you just plug all the things you want to back up right in here, and to simulate a power outage, I'm going to yank this cord and try to show at least the water filter at the same time. There, still on. Fridge, still good. Now, of course, these devices don't run all the time, so we've got 0 watts going out. I'm gonna turn on the cooling on here, and now we've got 448 watts out. Depending on what you have plugged in, for example, if I just had the fridge plugged in, I think I would get about 2 days of runtime on this, and you can connect solar panels to this. So if you have an extended power outage, as long as you got some sunshine, you can extend the time you can run on that even longer. But really, if you want to know what impresses me the most on this thing, it weighs about 60 pounds. Well, that's not what impresses me until I look at the specs and realize it'll put 3,600 watts continuous pure sine wave output, 7,200 watts of surge, so I could actually plug a bunch of refrigerators into it and it would actually run them. Of course, the duration it would run them would be less, but there's 3,000 watt hours of power storage in this thing, and the footprint for those specs is really pretty small. It uses lithium iron phosphate cells in here, not like the lithium ion that's common in a lot of off-brand and cheaper power stations. However, it comes with a higher risk of explosion and fire. So for something you keep in your home, that's probably not anything you want to risk. The other thing I want to mention is it does come with an app. As you can see, I've got a variety of Jackery devices. I really like all the different options and features in here. You can change and configure a whole bunch of things depending on your usage. You can also tell it to prioritize input from solar versus the grid. And one of the most important things to me is be able to shut off that auto off timer. When I plug stuff in, I want to plug it in and run it, and I want that thing to stay on until it can no longer stay on. But that might not be true for everyone. I've had Jackery products for 3 to 4 years now. I'm not totally sure on the exact date when I got them. They're always simple to operate, easy to use. You don't have to know a whole lot about solar, and I'm really not sure how they managed to pack all these specs into a device this small. The inverter I currently have in my main solar is 4,400 watts. It powers the entire homestead, and this thing is only 800 watts shy of it. To me, that's pretty impressive for something that's designed just as a backup. Check out the links in the description below if you want to know more about Jackery and their portable power, and they have a variety of home backup items that you should check out too. All right, back to our video. One of the things I'm loving about this right now is I just have a whole bunch of room inside under a roof, which is something I haven't had in over 5 years. My living space is 300 square feet, but on the other side of it, this really was just a storage shed, but then I got rid of my camper, made half of this a living space and the other half a storage side, and it's kind of a complete disaster. And many things belong in the garage, and this side will still end up as some kind of storage. It's just there's going to be stuff that's not garage storage, and that will belong here. And let me go back up there, but every time I make a trip, I'm carrying stuff. As some of you might know, my long-term plan for this building is to make that a guest quarters for when guests come to visit. My house will be up there in the big excavating area. Something else that needs to happen this summer/fall is this whole array needs to be removed. This dirt needs to be continued out level here and just kind of make an area all around the garage. Lean-to gets put on. I'll have a place to store my skid steer and mini excavator underneath the lean-to, which will also have solar panels on, which I have to do in time for winter because there will be less daylight hours and I need something pointing southeast. Not really sure where this is going to go. I'll just set it. I won't set too much stuff to make it too cluttered. This wall is designed to be a battery charging wall, quite obviously. Batteries and stuff are all going to get stored. I put a gazillion outlets in. Also getting some outlet plate covers for all that, and then the chainsaws are all hanging out up here. Things like this are likely going to go different blank spots of the wall. This door needs to be installed in the closet, which hasn't done a whole lot of changes other than it's now a server room. This is where the live stream is for Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. Currently streaming on all of those platforms at the same time. All the moderators can switch the different camera views. It just depends what you want to see, what they want to see. Got a duck on a nest. We got rabbits. We got glitchiness. That one's right at the edge of the Wi-Fi, and I just installed it this morning. I'm really hoping it's going to cooperate. We got the pond way down there, which always glitches out for 30 seconds when you switch to it. There's still some work to do on the streaming setup. This is the streaming computer. It's a tiny little thing. I really need something with hardware encoding and a good video card. But anyway, that's another thing. Solar, temporarily wired in my old inverter. I ordered some new inverters a month ago. That finally got the shipment notification. So I'm really excited about that. I'll be able to do some permanent wiring for it after I install them, figure out where they go. This system is also involved. It's So I have lead acid batteries as well as lithium iron phosphate batteries, all controlled by the smart switch. Basically, I have a million projects started, nothing finished, but a bunch of stuff just hit the usable stage where I can start using the garage for projects. Except for the problem is the garage is a project. You do like that area. You're still there. Doing good? Yeah, you seem like you're doing good. Did you discover there's a nice little soft rubber mat thing under there? You good? You released? It's wherever you want to be? That's okay. You can be there. For the most part, these cabinets are empty because I'm struggling to figure out what to put where. I don't know why these cabinets only come with 2 shelves as well, which is super annoying because who's got 3-foot tall stuff that they want to put in a cabinet? Like if you got stuff that big, put it somewhere, you know, where you don't need a cabinet, just set it. Bunch of stuff to go through, boxes of miscellaneous stuff. I feel like I should know what that is. I don't know what that is. We got some wire ties, random doorknob, drawer tracks. But I admit, I absolutely underestimated how long it was going to take to organize the garage. It sounds like something you should be able to do in a weekend or maybe take you a week. And it also took a while to figure out what shelving I wanted and get it here or build it. And, you know, took a while to get the OSB and insulation and electrical. But it's all going good. And I'm figuring out a bunch of stuff like plumbing, for example. I used to do a lot with plumbing, being a contractor. I don't do much with that anymore. So that's really what the second floor of this garage is for. If there's something you have to run up here once a month or twice a month, it goes up here. You know, don't put it down in the priority space. And maybe I'll put some kind of wall covering up here eventually. For right now, it's just gonna be like this. Got windows open for ventilation. Got totes of plumbing and miscellaneous stuff just kind of laid out here. The problem is I'm reaching in and working with a bunch of this stuff, especially as I'm doing electrical. A bunch of the electrical stuff's up here. This is a old kitten enclosure. It might just, I don't know if that'll stay or not. It might. It's kind of a cool little pen. Never know when you might need something like that. But yeah, there's been a couple things really consuming a lot of my time. The garage is one of them, which you can only do so many videos on a garage. So you just gotta wait a few weeks or a month or two, update all the progress, and then, you know, find something else to video in the meantime if you make videos such as I do. Let me pull 2 vehicles in here. I don't know how long they'll stay in here before I decide they're in my way to do anything, but I really wanna see with these cabinets if it's actually as usable of a space to do something in here or not. Minion, wanna go places, do things? We're not gonna go far, but it'll be go places, do things. There we go, Minion. Trusty old work truck, fires up. Yep, we'll go places, do things just for a little bit. Not gonna drive far. Minion, we upgraded. Now we're in the TRX. Hopefully this works out good, Minion. It's feeling narrow. Feeling narrow. You'd think a 20-foot wide garage door would feel big. Try backing 2 full-size trucks up into the area though. Well, would you look at that? They both fit and look pretty cool. I've got my truck over a little bit further, but I really wanted to make sure that there was plenty of room to access all this stuff, including the Lord Minion drawer. That might just be the Lord Minion drawer, letting all the AC out. All right, so seems to be plenty of room. Something else I wanted was to be able to take this rolling toolbox, which is huge, and roll it through there, which is possible. And it's unlikely I would run it into the side of my truck. I mean, it's possible if I like do something dumb, but I might not be able to park this far over. Got this thing on a kind of a fisheye view a little bit. There's not a lot of room. Definitely not a lot of room, especially towards the back here. But I did get 16, I think they're 16-inch deep. No, they're 24. They're 24-inch deep cabinets, so they stick out a good bit. But really, it works. Some of this stuff doesn't need to stick out quite as far as it does. And I don't need to back up quite as far either. But hey, I think it's gonna work out. And I'm gonna feel like I can still do stuff in here. Still access my table, which is never going to stay looking this nice because I just can't keep stuff nice. It's not in my nature. Plenty of room here. I could actually cheat the shelves this way pretty easily if I have something I wanna work on in here. And by the time I pull 2 ATVs in here, which will rarely ever be the case, I might keep 1 in here. That'll pretty much fill up the entire garage with enough room to walk around all the big vehicles to get to stuff. But we'll see if this garage actually stays this way. But anyway, that's an updated garage tour. That's kind of how I'm planning to use it. I gotta hang a bunch more stuff like this. I gotta find a spot for Minion's seat to stay out of the weather instead of leaving it in the rain and then having to set it on a rack to dry out. But yeah, This garage is 28 by 48, roughly inside. I think that's actually the outside framing dimensions. So, but by the time you put 2 trucks in here and make a small workshop and have a whole closet for utility stuff, it gets full. But that was the plan. And I was originally gonna build it much smaller, but Minion said, no, you're gonna need a bigger garage because it's gonna get full. So, all right guys, thanks for watching. Minion really appreciates it. If you would check out narrowwayhomestead.com for all the beard care products and coffee and some different Minion merch, even a beard oil designed after Lord Minion that he actually likes the smell of, which is hilarious. That would also be appreciated. And again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.
And the vision narrates his life, cutting firewood, draining beasts away from city strife. The ducks they roam freely, a quiet army true. Muscovies in the meadow, foraging in the dew. Lord Minion, small but grand, he's the kingdom's pride. Chasing out the odds with dying at my side, but when it's time to collect, it's not the stake is looking for.